guys, today I want to talk to you about the Army Painter Wet Palette for acrylic painting and Hydro Pack Paper Palette Premium Wet Palette for miniatures with 50 palette paper sheets and 2 wet sponges painting palette with lid.
Crush him! What the?
Yeah, so wet palettes. If you've watched one of the thousands of videos or read one of the millions of comments on wet palettes, you will surely already know that you don't need one, but you have to have one. And they're the best, worst tool you can get yourself. And they're one of the most cost-effective wastes of money a painter can have. Seriously, everyone has an opinion on wet palettes. If you don't believe me, head on over to your favorite social media painting group and ask about wet palettes, and magically within minutes you will be inundated with information that will send you into a never-ending spiral of debate. Go ahead, I'll wait. Welcome back. Okay, now that you've realized that wet palettes are generally approved of, affordable, and that you'd rather just try it out yourself and suffer one more comment starting with the phrase, "What I do is," I'm going to help you out. In this video, we're going to look at two options, both relevant to my audience, the beginner. The first option I want to show you is the Army Painter option. I've had mine for about 4 months and I really like it. It will set you back somewhere around $25 US and is one of the better budget wet palettes I've seen. In the box, you'll get 2 hydro foams, 50 hydro sheets, the palette, a brush holder insert, and a safety strap. Army Painter also gives you some info on how to get started with your wet palette. First, wet your hydro foam, put it in the bottom tray, add your hydro sheet, give it a wipe, and start painting. So let's see how that goes. So this is it. It is a good size, looks nice. To open it up, just remove the safety strap, and it's gone. Hold up. Yeah, so the strap is nice. I like the leather where it ends, where the ends are met. Should last a long time, and it has a nice finish. The lid looks sharp with the Army Painter logo on it. Underneath, we have our brush tray. I really like this, as you can see by the excessive amount of brushes in there. The only thing is I'm not entirely sure it serves a real precise purpose. The whole setup gives the impression that there is some aspect of portability in it, but I'm not sure that it's really viable considering your brushes will surely be smashing their bristles into the walls of the palette. Now down to the inside, it's just a basic plastic tray with some basic foam. The embossed branding is a nice touch. One gripe on the foam is they come folded, so they have a crease in them from the factory, and it could pose a small challenge sometimes. I've seen where this can be worked out. I just haven't got to it on mine yet. Now for the real not so good part. The paper that comes in it it's less than ideal. It curls when it's wet. That's right, the wet palette paper curls when it is wet. I just really can't put into words how frustrating this is. It goes on fine, it looks good, but yeah, it's frustrating. I've had some different experiences with it based on humidity, but it seems like at some point, no matter what I do, it just won't lie down. I think the root of the issue is that it is just too thin, so it has no real structure to hold itself in place. The best I can do is to get it to stick, but it's only a matter of time before I open up the palette and the paper is curled paint into the bottom of the brush tray. It isn't a deal breaker for me, but it does give me some seriously high blood pressure. I mean, look at this stuff. It goes from rolling up like a mat to curling like a taco. It doesn't matter what side I do, how wet I get. I'll flip the foam. It just really just will not stay in place. Yeah, it drives me crazy. Luckily, there is an easy solution if it bothers you as much as it does me. Just go grab you some heavier wet palette paper and throw it in there. I used the big sheets from Hobby Lobby, cut it in half, and they work just fine. Stay Wet's the brand, I think. They also solve the other issue with those papers, which is they soak through really quickly. I had some thin Vallejo air paint go through mine in 2 spots while I was painting with the first pour. It is advertised that your paint should be good for a few days in there. That doesn't mean much if it goes through the paper in a few hours. So yeah, it'll stay wet for a few days, but it'll be on your foam within a few hours. My suggestion, just get the good papers and move on with your life. So overall, this is a winner. It's decent price, well made, functional, and convenient. If you're cool with spending 30 US dollars to have a good palette and some good papers, I say it's a winner. But I'm going to be one of those guys I talked about before. If you aren't sure it's for you, not sure you want to get into a wet palette, I would say you go with a different route first. Just make your own and see if you like using a wet palette. That's what I did, and ultimately that's what led me to upgrade to the Army Painter. So here's my homemade wet palette I used for my first few years of painting. It's just a plastic sandwich box. Got a couple sponges cut to fit in there. Nothing fancy. The locking mechanism is pretty nice. I would opt for that over just a normal snap top. And then I lay some of these Stay wet palette paper on the sponges. Okay, hand actor. I guess I lay some trimmed Stay wet palette paper on the sponges. So just cut that up and it works just fine. It'll never dry up in this container. In fact, to fight off any mold that might build up, I have to intentionally open it up and let it air dry to get the moisture out. The only real challenge is the height of the container. It's just a bit too tall, and after long sessions, you'll start bumping the edges of it, resulting in a bit of a chase to keep your wet palette from running away from you. Now that I think about it, this thing works great, and I just recommend either option. The biggest issue with my homemade is that it's ugly. The Army Painter definitely wins in the looks department. Oh, there we go. Much better.